Harry's Wife, Part 102.30. We don't want you. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing to utilize material to explain narcissism in action, why the narcissist behaves as they do, why the narcissist responds in the way that the narcissist does, enabling you to understand the nature of the dynamic between narcissist and victim or victims. We now turn to an article by Cara Kennedy in The Spectator magazine. The headline reads, "No one wants to be Harry's wife and Harry's neighbours. A quiet California community is incensed over the Sussexes moving in." Neighbours make or break home ownership. Indeed, as our Antipodean friends down under explained at Neighbours, everybody needs good neighbours. Getting home from a long day and collapsing onto the couch doesn't have the same ring to it as when you have John next door blasting loud music, or Sally tottering over to reprimand you because your dog did the dirty on her lawn. Residents in Ranch Hope, an exclusive neighborhood in California, are up in arms because they have two A-listers who want to join their community. You'd think that rich celebs would be welcomed, driving up house prices and bringing a certain prestige to the town. But this is Harry's wife and Prince Harry. Fresh from losing their crusade to take over Hollywood, the pair are being driven out before they've even hired the moving vans. Well, the article describes the potential of two A-listers joining, which I think is stating it rather high when it comes to Harry's wife and Harry, albeit, of course, in her deluded world, she believes that she is an A-lister. She believes that she belongs there. She believes that having married a prince, and because of her innate brilliance as an actress, bananatarian, author, fashion icon, and anything else she cares to turn her hand to, that she very much belongs with the A-list. But invariably when you look at those in the A-list, they've actually achieved things. They, for instance, are decent actors, and they have been in a number of well-received films, both critically and commercially. Those that were described to the A-list are successful directors, producers, individuals who've got talent, that are able to see things that other people can't, to bring the best out of their charges in terms of those that they're directing, best at pulling together the necessary resources to deliver a blockbuster hit, understanding what audiences want, whether it's something highbrow or just something where you can leave your brain at the door. The A-listers invariably have talent. There are, of course, many narcissists amongst the A-list, but they have an innate talent. Harry's wife does not. All we have to do is consider all of the things that she said that she'd do, which haven't come to pass. What's happened with the 40 by 40 debacle? Again, the creation of the square root of fuck all. Where is she with regard to cold calling those senators and pushing for parental leave? Oh, all of that seems to have been forgotten, doesn't it? What's happening in terms of writing further publications? All silent on that front. How's it going with the feminism with Gloria Steinem and taking a trip together to Washington? Last time I checked, that hadn't happened. And you can find a variety of things where Harry's wife has said she'll do it, and then she hasn't. And imagine how that's now playing out for Harry. Sure, I'll take your pink pods in my mouth later tonight, and then he finds himself in the chicken coop. Absolutely, we will go back and make nice with your family. And then it doesn't happen. Future faking, of course. Returning to the article. Rumours of their relocation, 10 miles away from their current home in Monte Shitshow, have left residents scared for the circus set to come to town. One homeowner in the area quipped that locals aren't looking forward to becoming Netflix extras, adding that people here want a quieter life. Well, of course, Harry's wife will say, we're moving there for a quieter life, and as usual, demonstrating her usual narcissistic hypocrisy, it will be anything but a quiet life. "We want privacy," she cries out. And yet, they never ever attain it. Why? Because she's too busy releasing photographs of her and her hairdresser, i.e. Harry. Returning to the article, the source added, "We do have some celebrities, but they're the type to hide away from the cameras instead of going looking for them. Damning indictment, of course, upon Harry and Harry's wife. You can't blame them for their reservations. Hope Ranch may be one of the wealthiest areas in California, but opulence affords you little protection from the drama that the Sussexes bring, just like at Buckingham Palace. It spans 42 acres and has gold-plated thrones, yet the Sussexes' presence still managed to transform it into something akin to the Real Housewives of New York." Again, another damning indictment, showing how Harry's wife cheapens everything that she touches. As I mentioned before, she has the Sadim touch, the reverse of the Midas touch. Everything she gets involved in turns to shit. Could a Duke and Duchess really be driven out of town by what is effectively a neighbourhood watch group? Well, according to sources, the Housing Association is getting bombarded with complaints before they've even moved in. Imagine that. Imagine that, valuable listeners, that you are wanting to move to an area, that you've seen a property that you like the look of, that you've perhaps been and looked at it, and the neighbours have seen you looking, and before you've even put in an offer, word reaches you that the natives are restless, that they're convening with pitchforks and torches. "Drive out the heathen," they yell. "Unclean," they shout, not wanting you. How would that make you feel? Naturally, of course, you're not somebody that is internationally known, nor internationally despised. But Harry's wife and Harry have found themselves in that position. He, of course, would be saddened to learn of this, and probably confused as to why it is. In some parts, he would recognise, well, I kind of get it, why people don't like us. But of course, if he were to mention that to Harry's wife, she would just dismiss it, her narcissism not allowing her any form of reflection. But the fact is, they are so unpopular that the mere mention of them looking to move to a particular area has resulted in a galvanising of action to complain about them before they even turn up. Continuing with the article, it was also reported that the consensus among residents is that the couple aren't worth the baggage they'll bring. It seems Harry's wife and Harry's recent episodes have woken up Californians to the possibility that they may not be on the hunt for a more private life after all. Of course they're not. A private life makes no money. A private life doesn't manage the facade. A private life doesn't assert control. A private life doesn't draw enough fuel. Her narcissism cannot and never will seek a private life. While rumours have circulated that the couple's 9-bedroom, 19-bathroom Monty Shitshow mansion isn't quite cutting it for them anymore, great way to sell your house by talking it down, royal watchers weren't quite sure where they'd try next. Earlier this year, after the Sussexes announced that they'd be returning to Britain together for the first time since they officially stepped down from their royal roles, there was speculation they were thinking of trying to get back into the firm. Unfortunately for them, after the death of the Queen, King Charles made it pretty clear that they had made their bed, and they would lie in it. In his first speech as king, Charles expressed his love for Harry and Harry's wife as they continue to build their lives overseas, i.e. stay there. Harry and Harry's wife may have thought that the elite village with about 2,200 residents was the right place to call home, but it seems the locals do not. Reports have claimed that multiple homeowners in the area are concerned about the traffic they would bring, as paparazzi would flock to the area to photograph the Duke and Duchess. It's surprising that we don't put more thought into choosing our neighbours. In fact, some tech whiz should invent a dating-style app for neighbours. Swipe right for the young professional who spends 60 hours a week in the office. Swipe left for we just want a private life, Harry's wife and Harry. A damning article about the fact that they're not wanted in the place that they're looking to go and live. This, of course, amounts to challenge fuel for Harry's wife. And once again, she is unable to comprehend or to interpret and accept the fact that she just isn't popular. Unfortunately, there will always be some lackey that will praise her. There will also, of course, be the brain-dead sugars that will support her. And there'll be others whose support is bought, and so long as she has some dollars to chuck around, they will say nice things about her. Her narcissism will not allow her to realise that these people are only saying nice things because they've been bought. She honestly thinks that people really like her for her being her. That's what her narcissism creates. And as we know, anybody that speaks out to the contrary is either demented, a hater, or a racist. Similarly here, is she now going to believe that all of their neighbours are haters and racists? Because that's the way that her narcissism is going to have to deal with it. Nevertheless, I suspect that she would still want to move there, because the arrogance of her behaviour, her sense of entitlement and lack of accountability for her behaviour, driven by her narcissism, will still demand that it's done, because the status that she equates with such a place is commensurate with the way that she sees herself. Those neighbours are going to have to consider how they're going to deal with Harry and Harry's wife. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.